Morning and welcome to this Thursday edition of the Morning Commute. As ever, I'm joined today by Clem. Morning, Clem. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm trying to work out all the cake I ate last week because it was my birthday.
Yes, you have a good week off.
Yeah, I had a brilliant week off. It was nice doing lots of walks and stuff.
Fantastic. So tell us, what have we got coming up today?
So today we have an interview with Chloe Moran. Tom is back with another money saving tip, and we have a marketing focus with Alistair Walker and Phil Bray. But before all of that, we have Ollie on the news desk from New Model Advisor. Good morning, Ollie.
Good morning.
What do we have in the news today?
Thanks very much. A bumper news edition this morning, so do bear with me. We knew it would be a big one, and boy were we not disappointed. ITV journalist Robert Peston, with whom many of you will be familiar, was one of the journalists to spot what was going on at Northern Rock ahead of the 2007-8 financial crisis. So it's no wonder he was absolutely itching to interview the new governor of the Bank of England, Andrew Bailey, who of course has only just moved over from his former role as CEO of the FCA. Bailey has said one of the BOE's main purposes in buying £200 billion of government debt, and probably more, he says, is to spread the cost of coronavirus to society and help the government avoid a return to austerity. Speaking of coronavirus, new data analysis from everybody's favourite Scottish platform consultancy has shown just how resilient platform businesses have been throughout the coronavirus crisis. According to commentary published by the Lancat, all channel platform assets under administration fell 12% over the first quarter to reach 489 billion, while advised platform AUA decreased by 12% to 394 billion. It's the first time it has dropped below 400 billion since the fourth quarter of 2018. However, to put that into context, the platform consultancy says the FTSE 100 lost 25% over the same period, despite coronavirus only really hitting towards the end of the quarter. To see the real effect of all this on platforms, you need to look at net inflows, and on that measure, Aviva has weathered the storm the best, with a 1.12 net inflow in the first quarter of this year. That's in billions, I should say. Transact was close behind with a 1.1 billion inflow. Lancat principal Mark Paulson says the figures show the good place that platforms are in to show their resilience at times of crisis. Standard Life had the best gross flows, followed once again by Transact. Another trading update off the back of that. Speaking of platforms, Hargreaves Lansdown has released its data for the four-month period to the end of April. The Bristol-based broker has achieved net new business of 4 billion in the period, alongside year-to-date net new business of 6.3 billion, AUA of 96.7 billion, and 1.36 million active clients, with net new clients of 94,000 in that period. And finally, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, it's true. Not my words, of course, but rather the sentiments of chart-topping sensation James Blunt, whose breakout album Back to Bedlam sold a whopping 11 million copies and was #1 in the UK and the US in 2004, along with dozens of other countries. Why on earth is that relevant to the morning commute, I hear you scream? Well, our audience development managers in the UK and US have landed an interview with a financial advisor who was forced to endure listening to that first record in draft form when he shared a room with Blunt while they were both officers in the Household Cavalry. The interview, available on Spotify now, is part of a new series where we talk to advisors around the world about their experiences of entering the profession, with lines like, "Look who's alone now, it's not me, it's not me. Who could have doubted our guest's decision to quit his living arrangements with Blunt and go and do something worthwhile?" I jest, of course, but I thought that would make you laugh. Check that out on Spotify. You can find it by searching New Model Advisor. That's all from me. Have a very good day, everyone.
Thanks, Ollie. Marcus, what's next on the list?
Thanks, Clem. So next up, we've got Tomo's latest money-saving tip hot off the press. Morning, Tomo. How are you doing today?
Morning. I'm okay, thanks. I'm okay. I've already mentioned this to Ollie earlier, but I'm feeling really calm. If anyone has a bit of time on their hands, go on his Twitter feed, and he's posted a guitar solo that he's written himself, and I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I'm so calm. I'm so chill. If only I could be that talented. But instead, all I can do is talk about saving a few pennies. That's all I've got to give to the world. So I thought I'd start with a very anti-tight-ass Tomo to start with. I'm quite excited today. I got some garden furniture showing up. I've actually spent some money. So this falls into some of a topic we talked about once on the financial well-being, podcast was the point of delayed gratification. So it's actually okay to spend money sometimes, guys. That's what I'm saying here. But the point of delayed gratification is that we ordered this in April, early April, on a sunny day. Rattan furniture to go in the corner of the garden. We'd be able to share barbecues with friends and family. Right, that's clearly not going to happen for a while. But we pictured it. It looked lovely. Then we ordered it, only to discover that it was going to take 6 weeks to arrive. So we've been on tenterhooks, and I got the call yesterday that it was arriving, that it's being delivered. I don't know how I'm actually going to carry it into the garden, because obviously I don't really want strangers walking around my house, and my wife is almost 20 weeks pregnant, so I'm not quite sure. I haven't really thought it through, so I might just have to try and hitch it on my back and wander through. But delayed gratification, it is okay to spend money sometimes, especially if it's going to create some experiences with loved ones. Anyway, that isn't actually the tip of the day. I just thought I'd share my excitement. My tip of the day is a website called Bumblebee Auctions. Now, what is that? It's where the police auction any stolen goods that aren't reclaimed. So at the moment, I warn you, at the moment, it's not particularly useful because there's nothing on there to auction. Number one, because I don't think thieves are having a particularly good time. They got no furlough benefits, and of course everyone's at home, so they can't really, it's not a good time to be a burglar, let's be honest. But also you have to collect it from the police station itself. So I think that's some of the issue why the auction isn't on there. But you can get some really good valued things on there, because obviously they've only got so much space they can store this stuff. So yeah, there you go. Bumblebee Auctions, the UK Police Property Disposal website is what they call it. And I'm told it's completely kosher.
Who told you that? Your drug dealer?
Well, you know, Barry from the pub. No, I actually did search it, and like him or loathe him, my very rich money-saving expert or money-saving person in the country, Martin Lewis, said that it was okay. So that's good enough for me.
Fantastic. Well, the news this morning was that Dele Alli has just been robbed in North London. So get on Bumblebee Auctions and you might get some nice.
Is his house that big that he's clearly been on another wing of the house whilst they've snuck in and stolen something else?
Oh no, I think they snuck in and he got attacked. He got beaten up.
Oh well, I won't make light of that. That's pretty rubbish.
Ollie's on the news.
Yeah. Oh well, that's horrible for him.
Thanks for that, Tommy. That's nice to hear you recommending spending some money. That's awesome.
Yeah, why not?
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. So next up, we've got an interview with Chloe Moran, who, alongside being an active member of our community, is a financial planner with Rose and North Financial Planning in London. Morning, Chloe. How are you today?
Morning. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thanks. Thanks very much for joining us. So for those of us who don't know you all that well yet, tell us a little bit about how you got into the profession and what it is you're up to at the moment.
So, like most people in financial planning, I accidentally fell into it. I finished university and a friend of mine said her mum was looking for an administrator at a financial planning firm, and I thought, I don't know what financial planning is, but it's a job, I'll do that. And then shortly after that decided, I quite like spreadsheets, I like budgeting, like most people, administration roles, power planning, and now financial planning.
Fantastic. And how long have you been doing the financial planning side?
I think about 8 months now.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
So not long.
Enjoying it so far?
Yeah, so far so good.
Brilliant. So I understand that your career has taken in working at firms of a variety of different sizes, from larger nationals to more boutique firms. Would you tell us a little bit about how those experiences have been different to each other?
So with the bigger firms, as you'd expect, sometimes you feel like a small fish in a big pond, but sometimes it can be quite similar as well to boutique firms, because that smaller sort of regional office, your own sort of ecosystem, if you like, day to day is quite similar to a smaller boutique firms. But with the large ones, if you've got an idea or a suggestion, sometimes it can take a little bit longer to come into fruition, because there's a lot more bureaucracy and compliance and processes you have to go through. Whereas with the smaller firms, things can go through much quicker. And one of my other experiences when I've been writing my column, when I've been doing it in a larger firm, I have to start it a lot earlier because it has to go through marketing and compliance and lots of other layers, as you'd expect at bigger firms. Whereas when I've been at smaller firms, you can just write it and it goes out a lot quicker. But yeah, in terms of things that I've learned, I think the smaller firms, you get exposed to a lot more elements of the business. So you learn more about how it operates. But then with the larger firms, there's a lot more resource. So your technical knowledge is a lot more supported, by that resource, and you can learn in maybe a more structured way.
Fantastic. I mean, you just mentioned that you write a column. Would you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, I write a column for Financial Planning Today every other month. It started, I wanted to write about women in financial planning to try and encourage more women into financial planning. And then, I've just been writing every other month about different things, ethical investing, my point of view. So a good way to sort of rant, perhaps.
Well, they say often, don't they, that writing helps you kind of really pin down what it is that you really think.
Yeah, it does. It's very, very zen.
Has it helped you become a better financial planner, do you think?
I hope so. I don't know.
From what I know, you're an award-winning financial planner. So tell us a little bit about what the process of applying for and even winning, as it sounds like you have done, awards has done for what that's done for you and your career.
So the awards are quite like a fairly recent thing for me. It's really nice to have the recognition, of course. But yeah, sort of the process of doing it, you sort of nominate yourself or somebody else nominates you in some cases. Some of them have case studies, so they want to make sure that your technical knowledge is up to scratch. And then it's also sort of broader about your opinions and your views of financial planning in the world. So I think sort of combined with networking, it's been good. It's hopefully will open doors for me in the future. But as I say, it's quite a fairly recent thing for me.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I know absolutely nothing about the whole process of submitting, kind of applying or being nominated. And then, I mean, how long does the whole process take? And is it an enjoyable one? Have you?
It's strange because you have to write about things that you've done and why you think you should win the award. And I find it quite cringy, really, sort of almost blowing your own trumpet. And then some of them I've had interviews, so you don't know the questions in advance and they ask you what you think, so that can be quite nerve-wracking. And then the judges obviously all get together and they have a look at what you've submitted, any references, things like that, and then decide who they think should win.
Okay, so for those of us out here listening today, if we were thinking that we might like to try and nominate ourselves or look into winning some awards, what would be your advice?
I'd say go for it. You absolutely have to back yourself, which it's not always easy to do. But I'd say go for it. Think more broadly about yourself and your views and make sure you include those. And if there's a case study, don't leave it to the last minute because that can be stressful.
I'm experiencing that with AF8 as we speak.
I'm doing that at the moment. It's nice and fun.
Well, I imagine you're used to trying to write things to a deadline. If you've been writing a column, that must be a good preparatory experience.
Yeah, although I've said, me and deadlines with the, I'm not sure Kevin, the editor, agree. Sometimes I'm a bit late. But.
You mentioned that you wanted to start writing that column to try and encourage women to get into the profession. What else do you think we could be doing to encourage more women into this world?
I think more of us female financial planners need to shout about it. It's quite tricky because financial planning is an industry I hadn't even heard of myself when I was at university. And a lot of my friends, I think, don't really have a clue of what I do. Some of them seem to think I sit in front of a computer looking at numbers going green and red and up and down, and I'm some sort of investment management Wolf of Wall Street, which is really odd. I have no idea where they've got that impression from. But I think it just needs to be awareness. I know Next Gen do things with universities, and I think that's really important. But also need to encourage other people that maybe haven't been to university, and try and encourage them to say you don't need to get a degree to be a financial planner or to be a power planner or administrator, whatever you want to do. There's so many different avenues and specialities and roles that you can do in financial planning. But if you like exams, there's plenty of those as well. You can do, there's quite a few of those.
Yeah, I quite agree. There seems to be far too many sometimes, don't there?
I've done them all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it feels to me that you're absolutely right. We all need to talk more about this and help create an help create a kind of broader understanding of the fact that this is this really fantastic, worthwhile profession to be getting into.
Yeah.
So, let's say we imagine, we're successful in achieving some kind of transition for the profession into something that would be more aligned to what you'd like it to be. I mean, describe what do you see the future of the profession being in your ideal world?
So there's a few things. I think diversity is certainly one of them, but not just gender diversity. I think we need people of all different ages, race, religion, socioeconomic backgrounds, that sort of thing. Which doesn't necessarily mean I think that all 55-year-old white men should be eradicated. You'd be completely missing the point. I think it needs to have people of all different backgrounds, because the profession needs to, reflect the clients that it serves. So I think, more of a diverse profession would be good. I think more use of technology. Mm-hmm. I've been at firms where they say, we've just got this great web conferencing thing. You can now FaceTime whatever your clients and have meetings, so I don't have to come in. Oh, that's great. And then you hear one person who's used it and that is it. So with the current situation, obviously more people have been forced to do video conferencing. So it'll be interesting to see after all this, how many people sit with video conferencing and prefer that, and how many clients still want to come in face to face. So I hope it will change a lot. But for the better.
I totally agree. I mean, it feels to me that once we got through the real panic of what was happening to us at the moment, we've moved into this phase that I think really could be really beneficial to us all going forwards. Being forced to make the changes that you described, forced to use the tech a bit more. I mean, how's lockdown been for you? Has it been okay your end?
Yeah, it's been right. I was upstairs. We've got another bedroom, so I'd managed to tidy that all out. I've got a new desk in there, new chair, very exciting for me. We don't get out much these days, so a new desk and a new chair, thrilling. Tidied it all up, was very pleased with myself. And then my other half said, oh, but how come you get the study? How come I don't get it? So I thought, well, it's only fair, we'll swap. So I'm now downstairs in the lounge, which is a little bit more dangerous because I'm closer to the kitchen. But it's been okay. We're trying to get out to exercise, still talking to people, trying to, FaceTime family and all that sort of thing. So strange, but it's been all right.
I quite agree. Distance to the fridge is a very dangerous factor, isn't it?
It's literally right there. It's scary.
I can almost see it. So just as we begin to wrap up, that we ask every guest what they're most looking forward to doing when lockdown ends. So it's your turn. What are you most looking forward to?
100% seeing my family, and I'm really hoping that will involve, I'm due to get married in September, so I'm hoping to be able to see family at that and have a big party and get all excited, but we'll see. I'm not feeling so confident right now.
Here's hoping, aren't we all? I mean, crikey, if we could, I'm just looking forward to getting back to the pub, I tell you. So wedding, brilliant. Well, massive congratulations from us all. I hope.
Thanks.
Okay. So Clem, we're going to head back to you. What do we have next?
So next we have Phil and Alistair who are going to talk to us about marketing. So over to you, Phil and Alistair.
Hello. The fridge thing's an interesting point. I'm two flights of stairs away from the fridge, and my Apple Watch tells me I do more exercise at home than I ever did in the office. Must be the first trips to the snack box. How are you doing this morning, Phil?
I'm good, mate. I'm good.
Good. So interesting to hear talk of awards. That's something we were thinking we might want to talk about. What are your view on awards from a marketing perspective then?
I think they can be really, really useful, to be honest. There's a lot of cynicism about awards in that they're given to the people who buy the most seats at the event or the biggest table at the event. And I really don't think that applies to most, if any, awards. I've never seen any evidence of it. Happy to be told I'm wrong, but I've never seen any evidence of it. And I think if you enter, you learn something from the process, the entry process itself. You also learn something from how successful or otherwise you are. And then it can be a fantastic way of promoting your credentials as a business, both to clients, prospects, and also internally as well. Those firms who do really well with awards will promote them internally because it provides validation for the team as well as the clients.
Yeah, I've got to say we have some personal experience. We won an award last year as a business, and it was surprisingly nerve-wracking being there on the day. I wonder what the virtual award ceremony is going to be like this year, which I presume is what we'll see. An area that we were surprised to find, and to be fair, you had warned us of this, was that it significantly improved our recruitment prospects. And I think that's maybe a little bit of a side effect people don't expect.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think there's more audiences for an award win or even a shortlist than people necessarily think. You've got clients, you've got prospects, you've got professional connections. You've got that internal audience in the business as well, because it provides validation for how well the business is doing, but also recruits. It helps to, well, as you said, it helps to raise your profile, and it provides evidence if it's the right awards, and there are awards and awards, but it provides evidence to potential candidates of the quality of the firm that they might be applying to.
Yeah, I got to say, I discovered the phrase speculative application, which I'd never heard before after we got it last year. So if somebody is sitting listening to this and thinking, yeah, you know what, this year got plenty of time in lockdown, gonna practice that writing hand and get applying for some awards, are there any that you'd consider to be particularly worthwhile? Any that you'd maybe suggest avoiding?
Let's do the positive ones rather than the ones to avoid. For me, if I was a firm, I would be making sure that I enter awards where I think I've got a chance of winning. And you've got to be honest with yourself. If you read the criteria or you start writing the award and you're struggling to fill up the word count, then it's probably the wrong category for you. But firms we work with tend to apply for Money Facts Awards, of course, the New Model Advisor Awards, Professional Advisor, money marketing, and if you're a chartered firm, then some of the CII awards would be my shortlist. Clearly, other ones are available, but they would probably be my shortlist that I'd apply for.
But just to be clear, then you're saying absolutely avoid with a passion anything not on that list. So that was Phil's negative recommendations. I am being wired in that there is going to be a Next Gen 2020 award ceremony, virtual award ceremony this year. So we'll have to add that to the shortlist, otherwise we'll get booted off.
Absolutely, I missed that off the list. In fact, I put that at the top of the list. Best award ceremony in the world. Yeah. Absolutely,
100%. We will find out how they go, and if you guys want to give me an award, I won't say no. I'm just going to put that out there now. So moving on from awards, we've got awards. We're gonna get the trophy cabinet open, and we're sitting here in lockdown, and we're thinking, right, now it's time for a marketing project. What is the next step? How are we going to market to our potential clients, to our professional referrers in this kind of world? What should we be doing?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because one of the things we're seeing is a lot of firms are now coming to us and saying that project we've been putting off because we've been too busy with client work, we can now resurrect it. And clearly some of those projects are no longer possible. Anything that was done face-to-face, whether it's seminars or workshops and that sort of stuff, and they're not possible. So we're clearly in the online world for however long is left of lockdown. And we're seeing firms do a lot more online on social, a lot more webinars. I'm very aware I live in this bubble of really good quality financial planners. So I'm saying that I'm seeing a lot of financial planners run more webinars as opposed to the wider advisor community. But time online, socially, and webinars really popular right now.
Yeah, and I think the challenge that I'm facing, so I'm going to be selfish here, I've got you for at least the next 4 minutes. The problem I'm facing is actually trying to, this year's objective was to get in front of some more professional referrers. I'm terrible at it. I've talked to you about this before. And I had just about worked up the gumption to start ringing around and talking to some people, and I'd got a date in the diary to meet for a coffee with a solicitor that I'd referred some work to, and I think that was the day the coronavirus lockdown hit, was when we were supposed to meet. So great timing on my part. But how can we build those relationships or continue to maintain those relationships if we've already got them and we're not lazy like me, whilst we're not able to go and meet for a coffee.
Yeah, it's a good point. So I think starting the relationship starts by providing them with something with value. So helping them to do something. So for example, you could write a guide that would be useful for their clients and offer it to give them to them for free, brand it up for them, and be really proactive in offering it to them. Don't ask them if they're interested in it. Actually go and do it. And that act of kindness will be remembered. Again, coming back to webinars, if you've got the data or the social media connections to get yourself in front of accountants and solicitors, then webinars that offer value are a great way of communicating en masse to a relatively large audience, and then narrowing it down to those people that you want to meet individually. So we ran a webinar for a client of ours in Reading, and we had 110 solicitors on 2 webinars over the course of a week, talking about the effects of the current situation on the pension and divorce market. So that's a really good number, 110 solicitors. So I would be getting out there with some sort of mass communication. Webinars are a perfect way of doing it. And then following up, not with coffee meetings clearly, but with Zoom meetings. So I think the logic of how you would do it pre-lockdown to the lockdown period probably doesn't change much. The method of delivery probably does.
And let's say I want to go out and run a webinar next week. Do I just host a Zoom meeting like this and mute everybody? Is there something I can be doing that maybe makes it a little easier? Are there free options? What's out there for me?
So for me, don't run it as a meeting, run it as a webinar. Assuming we're using Zoom, you can get the whatever it is, £11 a month pro license, and I think the webinar license is maybe 32 quid, something like that, for up to 100 people on a webinar. But run it as a webinar; it's more secure, and then send out invites, make people register. Clearly, send out reminders, maybe 24 hours beforehand, 1 hour beforehand. Zoom allows you to do that, and then it's all in the follow-up. Once you've delivered the webinar, don't just stop and expect people to come back to you. Follow up with more value, opportunities to meet, maybe Calendly appointments, something like that, and keep following up.
Yeah, okay, and that's really interesting. The nuts and bolts are often the bits, you get inspired and then you get bogged down in the weeds, just trying to work out how we actually do it. There's a question from Rohan about collecting business cards. So collecting business cards throughout the year. What's your thoughts on on whether we can add them to mailing lists in that scenario?
Right, I'm no GDPR specialist and I'm not a lawyer, so this isn't legal advice. But in my experience, there are three legal bases for processing data. 6 legal bases for processing data. 3 really apply to financial planners. One of them is legitimate interest. And for me, under that, I've never had an issue. I've never seen a financial planner have an issue since GDPR came in 2 years ago. If they've met someone at a business event or a networking event, they've given them a business card, I think there's legitimate interest there in following up on that. If you follow up as well with something of value, you're far more likely to start a positive relationship than a negative one anyway. So follow up with valuable information, valuable content, and in that circumstance, I've never seen a problem.
Can I just say my preferred solution, which I'm sure everyone will agree with, is on your business card to have a statement that says, by accepting this business card, you're accepting our terms and conditions and therefore are happy to be added to our mailing list. Right,
That's a
right.
fantastic way around it.
That's what I thought. I think that just about brings us to time. So thank you for your wisdom and expertise once again, Phil, and back to Marcus and Claire.
Thank you both. I think that was very insightful. Lots of great content on whether you can contact people, especially in the times of GDPR. It's all a little bit up in the air sometimes. But thank you very much, both, and thank you everyone for listening. On tomorrow's show, we have a fitness focus with Steve Martin, like always, and an interview with my dear colleague Tommy Watson, and our usual news and thought for the day features. So have a great day, everyone. And what actually do we have next week, Marcus? I think there's some exciting stuff there as well.
We do indeed. So next week we look forward to welcoming more guests, including Natalie Wright, Lee Robertson, Dan Martin, and we've got another cookery feature with next gen favourite Nathan and his lesser known brother Rohan. So I don't know about you, but I can't wait. Stay safe, everyone. Have a good one.